do at SADC. So what we are doing at SADC is we work closely with the government. That's why you see us reporting straight away to the president, because we work with each and every ministry, department, and agencies. So we are involved in agriculture work. We also do quite a lot of research in energy and power, health, industry and manufacturing, information and communication technology, built environment and transportation systems, mining and mineral beneficiation, water and environment, small and medium enterprises, as well as special projects, and finally, commercialization of projects. Next slide. So today I'm going to talk about artificial intelligence. What is artificial intelligence? Making machines think like human beings. That's basically artificial intelligence. And when we think about like a human being, if you see me here, I'm a human body, I'm a machine. And from engineering, we say anything that is able to do work, that's a machine. So artificial intelligence, it started in 1957 at Dartmouth University in the United States of America. So it's not a new thing, it has been there for quite some time. So what we need to do is not to be afraid of artificial intelligence. It has been there since 1957. So artificial intelligence, but what it is doing, it is taking what is called the funnel shaped, because it is changing. It started its name as artificial intelligence, making machines think like human beings. If we make this mic think like a human being, it's now artificial intelligence. If we make a car think like a human being, it becomes artificial intelligence. And if we take artificial intelligence and put it in a structure, it becomes a robot. So that's basically the difference between artificial intelligence and robotics. So you are seeing that artificial intelligence is evolving and it's making a funnel. So from artificial intelligence, we go straight away to machine learning. So artificial intelligence is more like my whole body here. That's artificial intelligence. If I want to go down, I go to machine learning. That's another branch. But going down, we go to neural networks. Going down, we go to deep learning. So what does it mean? It's becoming more precise and precise. What does that mean? Artificial intelligence is coming from the human body. This is the human body, making machines think like human beings. If I go down from the human body, this is the whole body, I can take this whole body and talk about the upper limb only. I'm actually narrowing down, but it's still me. Then from there, I'm now going straight away to the head. The head is the controller, where there is the brain. But the brain is divided into 3 lobes, right? There are 3 lobes that are there. There is the frontal lobe, there is the limbic system, as well as the brain stem. So when we have that brain stem, but what do we need most? What is the chief executive officer of the brain? We call it the frontal lobe. That's where there is thinking and control. That's where we are going with artificial intelligence. Deep learning, because we are now talking about the neural networks. And the neural networks come from the nervous system, the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. That's when we talk about the nervous system. They are all linked to the brain. And the brain is the control system, the chief thing that controls ourselves. So we have our artificial intelligence going down to machine learning, going down to neural networks. What are neurons? These are things that give signals for you to know that there is a heat here. I have to remove my hand. So we are mimicking every machine to neural networks, to the human body. So we have artificial intelligence, machine learning, neural network, deep learning. Then from deep learning, we have those transformers. From the transformers, we have those ChatGPT, large language models. But the large language models are also going to expire soon. We are now going to have what we call AI agents, whereby we have an environment that is learning on its own and understanding the environment and changing on its own. But as we are still talking and working on those, we are now making brains for machines. That's what we call agentic AI. So what does that mean? It basically means artificial intelligence is evolving very fast and is going to mimic a human body. Next slide. This is artificial intelligence in terms of capabilities as well as functions. We have that narrow artificial intelligence where we have limited data, but we are going straight away to super artificial intelligence where we have a lot of data sets. That's what we call large language models. So basically we have reactive machines, we have limited memory, we have the theory of mind, and we have self-awareness, artificial intelligence. That's agentic AI. Next slide. So from there, this is large language models. So the large language model is what we need to do and work on so that we train our systems. We now need to pick at least a large language model to say, I think I would like to work on this so that I understand. When we are doing artificial intelligence, we don't need to go back and do computer science. We don't need to go back and do programming. No, let others who are there do it. But what we can do is to apply the technology. It's like using a phone. When you have got a phone, you don't need to say, I need to go and see the manufacturing company that manufactured the phone so that I'm able to use an iPhone 16. No, you just take the manual, you use it. You use only the things that you understand. That's critical. That's the same with artificial intelligence, so that we don't panic. So that's what we need to do. You can even choose and use Jurassic. You can use ChatGPT. You can use DeepSeek. In China, they've placed the 150 students to develop what they call DeepSeek, a very intelligent large language model that is evolving and is more like an AI agent. Next slide. These are the works that we have done so far at artificial intelligence, at SEDIC, in terms of artificial intelligence. So we have developed a drone that is used for surveillance system for agricultural crops. We have also done crop masking as well as mapping to identify which crops are in Zimbabwe using TensorFlow methods as well as machine learning, supervised and unsupervised. Then we are also using for disease modeling to identify some diseases for crops as well as for animals. It's very important. Then we are also doing geodatabases. We have done for Zimba district. Then we have also done parallelized computing system, working with the Zimbabwe Center for High Performance Computing. So what do we need to do? Because artificial intelligence is running with systems that are highly proficient and they are very fast. And at the end of the day, our machines may crash. So we need to create a system whereby we have parallelized computing systems. We work with advanced systems that accelerate the work. There you are. Artificial intelligence just accelerating our work is not going to take anyone's job. Parallelized computing system, digitalization of systems, as well as large language models. So that's what we want to do. We want to digitalize everything that we have. So when we are digitalizing, I talk about what we call the DIKW model or the DIKW pyramid, where we have a data. What is data? This is unprocessed stuff, something that is just there and you don't know how to use it. Then you have what is called information. That is the processed data, something that is organized. We call it information. Then knowledge. This is now applied information, where you now take your information and you implement it at your company to say, for OSH, let's use this information to make sure that it is known on 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we have what is called the wisdom. This is whereby that information is now working on its own and evolving and making some good changes. That's what we call the DIKW pyramid. What is the contribution of SEDIC towards the artificial intelligence for Zimbabwe? SEDIC was also involved working with the Ministry of ICT and the universities, ministries, departments, and agencies to come up with what we call the Artificial Intelligence Readiness Assessment Methodology. This is what we have developed for Zimbabwe, and it's already there. The PEMSEC went to Bangkok in June to make sure that that thing was launched. So Zimbabwe is amongst the 193 countries that are now using the Artificial Intelligence Readiness Assessment Methodology. We call it the RAM. So what does the RAM comprise of? The RAM comprises of the legal issues. The RAM comprises of the social and cultural. The RAM comprises of the scientific and educational, as well as economic, and lastly, technical and infrastructural. So that's basically what the RAM is doing. When we have our artificial intelligence for Zimbabwe, can it be a bit personal? Can it be a bit customized? So that whatever we do here is not similar to what other countries are doing, but we copy what they are doing, but customize to what we want. For Mimosa Mine, how can you use artificial intelligence for OSH, for Zimplats? For how can you do that? For NASA, how can they take it abroad for OSH applications? And they are now taking from our artificial intelligence, and it's having a national artificial intelligence policy out there, which is critical, and it makes sure that we pick exactly something that belongs to Zimbabwe. Then from there, recently, last week, I'm sure you heard on the news that Zimbabwe now have got an artificial intelligence strategy, and it was informed on TV as well as the radio, as well as all the social media. So what does that mean? We were also involved in working in that, and we were amongst the core team to work on the Zimbabwe National Artificial Intelligence. What does that mean? That basically means Zimbabwe is now the 17th country in Africa to have the artificial intelligence strategy. It basically means we need to pull up our socks and we need to work very hard, because this thing is now with us. Artificial intelligence is no longer something that we talk about, that they use in Germany, they use in Belgium, they use in Australia, they use in Japan. No, we are now using artificial intelligence. Let's embrace the technology. What do you expect to see in the document of Zimbabwe National Artificial Intelligence Strategy? You are going to see this diagram. There, it's there. So there is what we call AI talent capacity development. What does that mean? That basically means, can we have people coming from grade 1 from crèche, those that are dedicated to do artificial intelligence? The moment people are doing artificial intelligence from grassroots, they will understand and master artificial intelligence. Then we have what is called AI infrastructure and the computational sovereignty. This is what we need. We now need to have structures. If the structures are at the top level from the nation, that basically means all the companies now need to have that infrastructure. So there's that issue of communication. For us to talk about artificial intelligence, there is need for a control system. There is need for sensors. There is need for actuators. And if there is a structure that is there, that becomes a robot. So basically, what does that mean? That basically means we need to make sure that our infrastructure is IoT-based, Internet of Things, so that all these machine learning models that we were talking about can be able to be real-time and monitor as we go. Number 3, AI adoption in safe sectors. So basically, what does that mean? It means for agriculture, for health, all the sectors that we have, we are now penetrating with artificial intelligence. Number 4, AI governance, ethics, and regulatory framework. It needs to have that governance. Then number 5, AI research, development, innovation. So it's very critical. As we are talking about artificial intelligence, it started as artificial intelligence, going down to machine learning, going down to neural networks, going down to deep learning, going down to transformers, going down to large language models, going down to AI agents, now with agentic AI. What does that mean? There is need for research to continue working on that. Who knows, maybe 2027, we may not be talking about artificial intelligence or something. We will be talking about agentic AIs, where we develop brains on each and every machine to say, this is your brain, this is your brain, this is your brain. That's where we are going, because we want to mimic the human body, that whatever is done by the human body is considered as a perfect thing, because the human body uses natural language or natural intelligence. But these machines, they are using artificial intelligence, which is taken from the human body mimicking. Next slide. Then this is NASA with artificial intelligence. Basically, artificial intelligence transforming occupational safety and health through predictive analytics, smart sensors, and automation. This is very critical to make sure that the NASA has got these systems. And if these systems are in place, NASA will smile all the way. No more injuries, or very much less injuries. It enhances hazard prevention, decision making, which is very important. We don't need to argue to say, let's not do this because I've got experience, I've seen this thing happening, I've been here for 20 years. No, let's have decision making from large data sets, large language models. Let's create large language models so that we make decision with fastness. Then we talk about occupational safety. Next slide. Yes, occupational safety and health is key to sustainable industrial growth. This is sustainable. This is what we want. We don't want people to go to work, come back with one arm no longer there. Tomorrow, without an eye. Tomorrow, without at the end of the day, then another day, the person will not come back. So what we need to do is to make sure that we have artificial intelligence, we have these models that monitor our people, so that whenever they go to work, they come back safely. Then the 4th industrial revolution, which is quite critical. The 4 IRA, it started as 1 IRA, the first industrial revolution. We started in the 1800s, where we talk about mechanization, and James Watt was behind that. Then the 2nd industrial revolution, it was now talking about electricity, and Thomas Edison and the crew were behind the 2nd industrial revolution. Then the 3rd industrial revolution, that's when we talk about automation. Then the fourth industrial revolution started around 2004, 5, 6, where we now talk about cyber systems and artificial intelligence in its raw form, ANI, the artificial narrow intelligence, come on board. And now, 2030, definitely we are going to 5IR, which is the fifth industrial revolution. Super artificial intelligence will be ruling the world. So 4IR is with us, but we are only left with 5 years to complete it. Then we are going to super artificial intelligence. Zimbabwe's Vision 2030 and the National Development Strategy 2. This one is a strategy for manufacturing. This is a strategy for changing things for Zimbabwe. So basically what we need, and if we have artificial intelligence, that basically means we move fast.
Can people with these vehicles, please, can you go and remove them now for the purposes of our VIP who is arriving now? AGQ 3676, AGQ 3676, CAG 4585, AV 1989, AGY 4175, ACY 4506. Let me repeat again. ACY 4506, AGY 4175, AFV 1989, CAG 4585, AGQ 3676. Please, can you go and remove your vehicles right now? Okay.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you, Doc. So the next slide. Right? Next slide, we are now talking about justification for integration of artificial intelligence in OSH. So basically for artificial intelligence, what is already there, it's gold. We need it. That's what we call expert systems. So things that are already there, we don't want to say, oh, these things, we wasted our time, we don't like them. No, we like all of them. But what we need to do is to integrate new technologies, whatever is there. If you see someone who did education 30 years ago, that person is critical because he's got expert knowledge that if he tells you and you put it into the large language models, that basically means your large language models will be smarter because of the experience. And we also talk about fuzzy logic systems, whereby we talk about the imprecise data between 0 and 1. What is between 0 and 1? What is at 0.3? What is 0.7? What is at 0.9? So we want to understand that imprecise data. What is between 0.1999999? So we want to do that with artificial intelligence because it's intelligent. It can do that. So this is the justification we want to talk about. We need artificial intelligence. Is there anyone who has not used any large language model like ChatGPT or DeepSeek? Just raise up your hand. See me after this. Anyone who has not yet used the ChatGPT? Anyone who has not yet, so that at least we help each other. It's now a serious problem not to use artificial intelligence. Next slide. So this is to prevent instance through predictive analytics and AI enabled. It's more like someone who is getting hungry, but his food is in the bag. He say, I will eat later. So artificial intelligence is the food, which is in the bag. Take it, eat it. So this is what, to reduce worker exposure and automate safety responses. Thank you so much. So we want to strengthen compliance. Very important. There are some times whereby a manager and a worker don't talk together because they say, the manager is always saying, I should wear this. The manager says, no. With artificial intelligence, compliance is done automatically. If you don't have that thing, you are not allowed into the plant. And if you don't go into the plant, what does that mean? You are not going to get paid. So the manager is smiling. So to build data-driven and adaptive OSH frameworks. So basically, all these things can be done with artificial intelligence and with modeling. Next slide. AI in OSH. AI is applied in OSH through machine learning, computer vision. Machine learning now, the supervised, the unsupervised, and the reinforcement is very important now. And natural language processing, studies show its ability to predict risks. There's going to be a risk of 1, 2, 3, 4. The risks that you may not even understand. If they are calculated with what we call reinforcement machine learning using Monte Carlo techniques, these things will be a thing of the past. The risks will be predicted before they occur. We can also analyze our reports. 300 pages document analyzed by large language models in 2 minutes, and the CEO is smiling. going and making a presentation from a 300-page document only on one page, and all the key things are there. This is what we want. We don't want to waste any time more. Then we also want to automate all the systems for compliance monitoring. Next slide. Then NASA rehabilitation. We have our NASA rehabilitation. It's a very good thing. I have been there 2 months ago. Very nice thing. What can we do with our people who are injured? We also need to talk about the prosthetic legs. And we also, I remember we were invited by Dr. Shawa to NASA, and we met Dr. Nyere Gona and the team to discuss about this. What can we do as NASA so that we develop the prosthetic legs, the prosthetic arms, the prosthetic products that can be used by people who are injured? Because at the end of the day, rehabilitation is to make sure that someone who is injured is also the same with those who are not injured, moving wherever they want. It's very critical. So we really need to talk about that. So said the collaboration, we talk about prosthetic designs, AI in big data analytics, medical implants development for the workers affected in the areas. I'm sure in the morning we heard about what can go wrong or the diseases that may affect people. But we need to come up with solutions. Artificial intelligence is the answer. Intelligent system to prevent accidents in Zimbabwe. Next slide. So then we also need to talk about predictive analytics and hazard forecasting, computer vision for real-time surveillance, smart wearables, and IoT integration. It's very important to talk about these wearables, and they are real-time because of our infrastructure. Then natural language processing for incident and report analysis, robotics and automation in high-risk environments, calibration or self-test every time before operation is very important for real-time assessment. Then model development for OS. So what NASA can actually do is to come up with the modules. Module for this system, module for this system, module for this system. All those systems will be integrated and NASA will flow seamlessly. Then various types of modules exist in OHS, including predictive risk assessment, behavioral, system dynamics, and AI-enhanced decision models. Each serves a unique role in preventing incidents and improving workplace safety. Next slide. Then these are the steps. Number one is to identify a problem. You sit down as a team. It's very important to do stage gate meetings in your works to say these are the problems. And once you have those problems, you escalate, you do data gathering. Then the next thing is to do feature engineering. Then we select a model. Then we train and validate. We deploy that system, and we come up with an intelligent model that monitors people there. Monitoring and continuous improvement, refined model using the new data is very important. I'm sure Delvin yesterday was talking about the 80% and the 20%, training using 20% as well as 80% and 20% for predicting what is going to happen. So testing the data. Next slide. Then these are some of the core components of OHS model development: the conceptual framework, data collection and analysis, model building, validation and calibration, implementation and monitoring. And this is key. This is very necessary. Next slide. Right? Benefits of AI, to proactive hazard prevention and early warning, improved worker health monitoring, because the worker is the key person. So we need to monitor that person. Enhanced compliance and auditing, reduced operational cost and downtime, strengthen the culture of safety and continuous learning. Next slide. So these are the large language models that can actually be used by NASA. So they can actually use this for summary, inspection, for identification of trends and risks, automating the system. This is now more like a flow of how they can actually utilize large language models. Next slide. Then challenges and ethical issues, limited data and underreporting. So to me, I heard since Monday, people were talking about data as the new oil. Let's put that data together. What do we need to do with the data? Let's convert that data into information. Let's convert that information into knowledge. Let's convert that knowledge into wisdom. That's what we really want to do. Lack of model explainability. Yes, the explainable AI is AI that is understood by a human being, which is very important. Resistance to adoption. Let's train people and make more awarenesses. Weak policy frameworks. NASA can make very strong policies that can also make sure that the whole country is following that. Implementation costs as well as digital divide. This is the framework or the infrastructure that needs to be done for the whole of Zimbabwe, and the government is working on that to making sure that no one and no place is left behind. So this is policy and implementation recommendations. Develop AI-driven OSH frameworks promote collaboration between NASA, industry, and academia, what I call the triple helix. What can NASA benefit from the industry? What can NASA benefit from the academia? Do NASA need some PhD students to work on the models? Do NASA need some people who are in industry, in mines, that can capture the data that they use for training? This is the triple helix that might need to be done. And you are also going to see in the artificial intelligence strategy that there's a framework, or there's going to be a Gantt chart from 2026 to 2030, how to implement artificial intelligence. And you can actually now depict from there as NASA how to implement it step by step. 2026, what can you do? 2027, 2028, 2029, 2030. All those things will be moving very well. Build capacity through training and upskilling. We now need to upskill ourselves. Those who said artificial intelligence is going to take my job, I don't think it's now a valid person. The artificial intelligence these days is not going to take anyone's job, but it's going to increase you with more knowledge. And artificial intelligence is going to upskill you. Everyone wants to be upskilled, right? So we want to do artificial intelligence. Establish ethical and legal AI governance guidelines, support local innovation and the startups in SAFET. So NASA can actually do some startups in terms of these OSH. Case studies, I've been in China in August, and I learned quite a lot. This is Professor Esther Wang. She's a professor of artificial intelligence focusing on large language models. So I worked with her for 21 days doing large language models. So we need to do the same for artificial intelligence, developing large language models for NASA. Next slide. This is future research and vision 2030 alignment. Integrate artificial intelligence with digital twins for predictive simulation. Expand artificial intelligence for health monitoring and stress detection. Create open OSH data repositories. Align artificial intelligence OSH integration with the Zimbabwe's vision 2030 and sustainable development goal number 8 for decent work. We all need that. Next slide. Conclusion, AI redefines OSH by transforming reactive safety into predictive prevention. It enhances efficiency, saves lives, and drives sustainable industrialization. Through ethical and responsible adoption, Zimbabwe and NASA can achieve zero harm workplaces through artificial intelligence. Next slide. Next slide. Thank you very much, NASA, for inviting me. It was a pleasure for me to stand in front of everyone discussing about this issue, and also from Monday, I've been listening and learning quite a lot of OSH issues. So I would like to thank NASA so much for inviting me to make this presentation. Last slide. Thank you very much. Tatenda siyabonga.
A round of applause once again to Prof. Mshiri, continuing very much on the issue of artificial intelligence, a very important matter indeed. Again, let me announce this vehicle, please. Can you go and remove your vehicle immediately? AGQ 3676. AGQ 3676. Please, can you go and remove your vehicle immediately? It's interfering with the coming in of our VIPs. So please, if you are in here, can you go and remove your vehicle immediately? AGQ 3676. Let me also take this opportunity to remind our delegates that would like you to evaluate the conference. And you are going to see an evaluation form on your QR code. If you scan the QR code, you are going to see an evaluation form there. Please kindly fill in, give us feedback in order to improve in the next edition. Additionally, all presentations, we are going to see them again on the QR code. They are going all to be loaded there. If you want to have access to any of the presentations which we have done, you should be able to access them on the QR code. Just before summing up, any minute from now, we should be paving way to our dignitaries, our VIPs, for this high-level session, which is just about to begin the official opening. But perhaps we can invite some interaction, brief interaction, just a few, maybe one question in each segment to Professor Mshiri. I can start with this row. Yes, I can see a hand there quickly. In this row. Right, I think we can have a question there.
Hello. All right. So my question towards Dr. Mshiri is towards when you talked about agentic AI. You mentioned that these models will be able to learn on their own and they become smarter and they'll be able to make decisions. So you see, like with the traditional models of AI, we could program the ethics and morals that us humans uphold. But then with these now new agentic AIs, it's learning on its own. So in going through the learning material, probably it's going to go through some ethics and philosophies and morals that it considers to be optimal for whatever objectives that it wants to achieve. So now, but then the challenge is some of those ethics or morals that it considers optimal on its own, to us humans, it might not be the best ethic or the best moral for how we perceive the world. So now, I just want to ask you to comment on that, Dr. Mshiri, that what can be done to minimize that collision between us, what we think to be the best moral decision, and what the agentic AI seems to be optimal based on its vast knowledge that it knows. We don't know that much as the AI does, but then we tend to make our moral decisions based on what we think. So a good example that I'll give you is this, the trolley problem, the dilemma where we've got a trolley that's moving towards to crash 5 people, and then I can push a lever, and then the trolley can divert and then crash 1 person. So now the moral dilemma is, what would you do as an individual? So me as a human being, if I get into that situation, I have a dilemma. But then the AI can always think in a utilitarian mode and then assume it's better to kill 1 person than to kill 5 people. But then other people may perceive that as a bad decision, as you should have let the course of action take the course that was going to happen without intervention. So if we scale this problem up to other problems, the AI model can decide to see that maybe it's better to kill these 5 people, these 100 people, or to kill this country. Maybe there's COVID in that country, and it's like, you know what, let's eliminate COVID before it spreads and kills the whole world. Now that's a problem. So now I'm just asking you to comment on that.
Okay. Any other question? In this row? What about that row? Prof, you can comment on that question. Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Mtetwa. Thank you so much. So when we talk about agentic AI, it's making brains to machines. So to me, the way I answer this is, if you see a human being closer to you, even if you say, Mamuka say, you expect an answer. You have faith that this is a person who will answer me. And if I ask this person, please do this, that person can do that. So when we make machines like agents, the data they are picking, they are using brains for the human being. So basically, that person has got ethics, that person has got morals, that person has got trained already. So that basically means as they are evolving, they are now evolving using human brains. That's what we call agentic AI. I don't know if I answered it well. Thank you.
Thank you for that response. Any other intervention? Thank you. If none, yes, I can see a hand there. Please, quickly.
Sorry, Doc, just a clarification there. So you were speaking about AI language models. Is this what we are doing as Zimbabwe as a continent? Is this also going to speak to our indigenous languages as well, our background as Africans? Will this be represented in the data sets that you're talking about? 1, 2, where are we building? I'm hearing what you're saying about collecting data, but where are we building the data sets for our context in Africa? Is that also going to, we were talking the other day about artisanal mining. Are we sure that the informal sector, for example, is also going to be well captured and represented in the data sets versus just using generic, like when you're talking about ChatGPT, for the most part, the information is from the West and seldom reflects, say, a Zimbabwean context, someone who speaks Tonga or someone in Wange. So are we going to make sure that that representation is going to be clear in the language sets and the models that you are building?
Prof.
Okay, thank you so much for the nice question. When I also talked about the artificial intelligence readiness assessment methodology for Zimbabwe, what we made sure was to customize, to make sure that our large language models that we make here in Zimbabwe, these are large language models that can also use Tonga, that can also use Ndebele, that can also use Shona. So that basically means we are now using what we have. And this is what we call data sovereignty. So we need, at ZCHPC, we have put a center, and they are now developing the storage systems so that we are no longer going to store our data to Google Drives, to Dropbox, and all that kind of, we don't even know where that data stores or where it stays. But what we need is to have our own storage system where we store our information here in Zimbabwe. That basically means that large language model will be more precise because it will be focusing on the area of Zimbabwe, which is very critical, and is taking that information and analyzing it closely and to a more closer point, which makes good sense. So there's data sovereignty, local languages, we can also use the LLMs we develop for Zimbabwe, and we have already started at ZCHPC. There are quite a number of people who are already there making some large language models. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Mshiri. I think a round of applause once again to our prof for that insightful high-level presentation. Let me repeat again, as we are almost winding up on the technical aspect of the program, there's an evaluation form which is on your QR code. We are kindly requesting you to open it up and fill it up, give us feedback, so that the conference can improve in future. Then there is also your presentations. We are going to access them on the QR code, all of them from day one up to this point in time. You should be able to access all the presentations. Now, ladies and gentlemen, just allow me to speak to just a couple of issues vis-a-vis some key issues which arose last year in last year's conference, and to what extent have we managed to attend to those. And just a few points, in short, some of the key issues which arose, particularly for this particular session of the 2025 Shore Conference. You will recall last year that one of the key issues which then arose was to do with the promotion of prevention of exposure to lead. I think we had quite an extensive discussion which spoke to issues to do around exposure to lead. And indeed, as part and parcel of the OSH bill development, we have since developed a statutory instrument, among other statutory instruments, obviously. This is a key one, which is going to be part and parcel of the raft of all OSH regulations under the new OSH framework. Now, the other issue, remember the issue of technology, artificial intelligence, even started at last year's conference. And I think there was a call to ensure that the next editions do amplify the issue of artificial intelligence. And I'm sure you can attest to the fact that this year the conference was quite deep as far as technological issues are concerned. Quite a number of plenary sessions, a number of parallel sessions dealing with artificial intelligence as well as machine learning. And certainly it's a matter, as you can see even from Prof. Mshiri's presentation, that the country has taken a strategic move to ensure that we do have a local artificial intelligence strategy where we are going to harness all the data which is going to be generated within the country and get stored within the country, within the confines of the country. And I think that's quite a significant development itself. Then the issue of awareness of on artisanal miners has been a major issue. It has been a major issue indeed. And this year, NASA took the initiative to be in collaboration with the Ministry of Mines, where we did carry out an awareness program for gemstones miners and small-scale miners within Chinhoyi. And that program was quite a success. This year, again, at this particular conference, we took a deliberate position to have a discussion around artisanal miners. And the discussion, I want to believe, will continue as part and parcel of raising the necessary awareness. The other issue which arose last year was on the OSH bill, ratification of Convention 187, and I think we have made much progress. As you can see, the bill has since gone through approval by Cabinet, Cabinet Committee on Legislation, and even going further to come before Parliament, where it has received attention. I think we have been seeing the past month where the Portfolio Committee on Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare was going around the country as part and parcel of public hearings and gathering further insights into that particular bill. And it is our hope that going forward, we should be able to realize a new OSH framework in this country. The ratification process for Convention 187 is still continuing. It has since gone past the Cabinet Committee on Legislation. It is still yet to go before Cabinet and receive further consideration. I can say, in summing up, those are some of the key issues which arose from last year, and they are being followed up. Certainly, when we come to this particular edition of the 2025 OSH Shore Conference, we can notice that one of the key issues which stuck out is the issue of promoting the use of artificial intelligence and technology with understanding. I think the issue of understanding came out very clear, that as we begin to deploy this kind of technology, we need to use it with understanding. And I think that's very key, I think, going forward. The issue of also local authorities within the parallel sessions which were ongoing was a major issue. You recall that I think our local authorities are grappling with a number of hazardous conditions, including exposure to gaseous exposures and many other issues, issues to do with biological agents. And I think it's a matter, I think, which we need to follow up to see the progress which may be happening in our local authorities in order to improve safety and health issues within that particular sector. I think at this point, I can pause. I know there's going to be a high-level session which is going to come through and give us further insights from that particular session in terms of some of the key issues which the conference may need to take note of. So that said, ladies and gentlemen, I think at this point, I just want to invite NBS. I told them to be on standby, just to give us a short, maybe less than 5 minutes. You are one of our sponsors. You can come and take us through just 2-3 minutes. Where are you, NBS? NBS. Okay. No, that's fine. It's well in order. They are not there in position. But nonetheless, what I would want us to do for now is just to pause. I encourage all of us to stay put as we are just about to enter our next session, which is the high-level official opening. So let's all stay put as we wait for our dignitaries. Thank you very much. As we wait for our dignitaries to come through, I think our rapporteuring team has got a couple of issues which were being raised in the parallel sessions. So they are just preparing here to come through with some of those questions, and then maybe we can all try to attend to them. We can try to answer them. Some of them maybe to the rest of us. So we should be able, or we should be in a position to try and assist in trying to answer them. Thank you. Oh, NBS is here now. Thank you. So, 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Apologies, but let's bank, build, and go beyond together. Today, we've got yet another chance to present ourselves. We also have what we call manna from heaven, affordable homes, affordable banking products. That is what we have. And like manna, if you wait and wait, to those that picked it, they put it in their pocket and it got rotten. So we are encouraging all of you, when you hear NBS saying affordable homes in Glodina, affordable stands in Borodale, we've got Visa cards outside. It is your time to get it. Because the time you want to then take and say, I'll do it tomorrow, you will find the opportunity rotten. We have our Sapatina outside, we've got our gazebo outside, so we are saying, let's come and really look into the NBS products that we have on our stand. Let's together find something that is for you. We've got schemes, we've got mortgage schemes, we've got loans for SMEs in partnership with our parent. We are doing a lot in terms of ensuring that we are the bank that will take care of your money and give you value out of your money. So here we are, we've got money, we've got manna in terms of affordable homes and Sapatina for you. Thank you so much. Here is to bank, build, and go beyond.
Can we remain standing for the national anthem? may take our seats. The Minister of Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare, Honorable Edgar Moyo. The Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution for Matabeleland North Province, Honorable Richard Moyo. The Chairperson of the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare, Honorable Dexter Malinganiso. The Chairman of the Zimbabwe Occupational Safety and Health Council and the President and the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare, Mr. Simon Masanga. The President of the Employers Confederation of Zimbabwe, EMCOS, Mr. Demos Nyambauya. The President of the Zimbabwe Congress of Trade Union, Ms. Taruvinga, represented here by Mr. Valentine Chikosi. The President of the Zimbabwe Federation of Trade Unions, Mr. Alfred Makwarimba, represented by the Secretary General, Comrade Kenyas Shamyarira. The President of the Zimbabwe Confederation of Public Sector Unions, Mrs. Cecilia Alexander. His Worship, the Mayor of Victoria Falls. The NASA Board Chairman, Mr. Christopher Due. The NASA board members here present, the NASA General Manager, Dr. Charles Shava, senior government officials here present, captains of industry, members of the media, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to the official opening of the 62nd edition of our Safety and Health at Work Conference of 2025. Allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to call Reverend Zingai Manjengwa to come and give us a word of prayer.
Let us bow our heads in prayer. We come before you this morning with hearts full of gratitude and humility. We thank you for the gift of life, for the opportunity to gather here as one family under the banner of progress, safety and service to humanity. Lord, we can acknowledge your divine presence in this conference organized by the National Social Security Authority, and we invite your wisdom to guide every discussion, every decision, and every plan that will be made here today. Father, we thank you for the theme of this conference, occupational safety and health technology in the future of work. We recognize that as the world of work evolves, new technologies are shaping how we live and labor. We pray that you grant us discernment and harness those innovations responsibly, that they may enhance safety, productivity, and human dignity in every workplace. Lord, bless us here, all the participants, the leaders, the policymakers, experts, workers, and all stakeholders represented. May this gathering be a seedbed of ideas that will safeguard the well-being of workers across Zimbabwe and beyond. Help us to uphold the sanctity of life in industry and agriculture and technological space. We ask, O Lord, to inspire creativity, cooperation, compassion in our deliberations. Let this conference be more than a meeting of minds. Let it be a renewal of commitment to justice, fairness, and protection from all who labor. We also lift up before you all workers who have been injured, fallen ill, or lost their lives in the line of duty. May their sacrifice remind us of the importance of safety, vigilance, and collective responsibility. Comfort their families and renew our resolve to prevent such losses in the future. As we end this conference, we pray that your peace reign in this place. Let every word spoken and every plan crafted bring glory to your name. and benefit to your people. And you commit this event and its organizers and all proceedings in your mighty hands, and be our guide, our strength, our inspiration, today and always. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend, for committing our proceedings to the Lord. Ladies and gentlemen, you will agree with me that we have found a home in Victoria Falls for our conference, the beautiful tourist attraction in Zimbabwe. And we are so blessed that today we have the honors of the province to welcome us. Allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to request the Honorable Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution for Matabeleland North to offer us our welcome remarks. Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Director of Ceremony, the Honorable Minister of Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare, MP Baba Edgar Moyo, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare, the Chairman of the Zimbabwe Occupation Safety and Health Council, His Worship the Mayor of Victoria Falls, the ILO Country Director, the President of the Employees Confederation of Zimbabwe, the President of the Zimbabwe Congress of Trade Union, ZCTU, and the Zimbabwe Federation of Trade Union, ZFTU, the General Manager of NASA, senior government officials, captains of industry, representatives of labor and academia. Let me say all protocol observed. It is my singular honor to welcome you all to this important occasion, the National Social Security Authority, NASA Safety and Healthy at Work Conference being held here in the majestic city of Victoria Falls in Matabeleland North Province. On behalf of the people of Matabeleland North Province, I extend a warmly welcome to you all, delegates and guests who have traveled from across the country and beyond our borders to join us for this critical dialogue on workplace safety and health. Ladies and gentlemen, this conference is far more than an annual event. It represents a national call to action and the shared commitment to protect the lives and dignity of the men and women who form the backbone of our economy. Under the visionary leadership of His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Dr. Emmerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa, the government of Zimbabwe remains steadfast in its commitment to safeguarding the safety, health, and well-being of workers as part of the broader Vision 2030 agenda. This vision seeks to transform Zimbabwe into an upper middle-income economy. Government is also decentralizing OSH services to reach workers in all provinces, including those in the informal sector and rural industries, where exposure to occupational hazards remains high. As a member of the international labor community, Zimbabwe remains committed to fulfill these obligations and to sharing best practices with our partners while continuously improving our domestic systems. Ladies and gentlemen, as we begin this conference, I urge all participants to approach the discussion with a sense of urgency and purpose. Let this gathering serve not only as a platform for exchanging ideas, but as a springboard for action. The deliberations held here must yield concrete solutions that can strengthen and promote a culture of zero tolerance for unsafe practices. Together, we can and must move towards zero harm and zero compromise on safety and health. In conclusion, I would like to extend my sincere appreciation to NASA for organizing this important event and to all our partners and stakeholders for their continued collaboration in advancing the national OSH agenda. I encourage all delegates to take some time to explore and enjoy the natural beauty and hospitality of Victoria Falls, one of the 7 natural wonders of the world and the proud symbol of our nation's identity. May its power and majesty remind us that our commitment to worker safety and health must be just as enduring, powerful, and unstoppable. Once again, I welcome you all to Matabele North Province and to this significant conference. May your deliberations be fruitful and your resolution bold. I want to thank you, Ngalibonga Tatenda Twalumba.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, for welcoming us to this beautiful province, this beautiful town of Victoria Falls. Ladies and gentlemen, as we proceed with our official opening, I am going to request the chairman of the NASA board to come and give us introductory remarks on this conference.
The Director of Ceremonies, the Minister of Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare, Honorable Edgar Moyo, the Minister of Provincial Affairs and Devolution for Matabele North, Honorable Richard Moyo, the Deputy Minister of Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare, Advocate Ms. Dina, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare, Mr. Simon Masanga, the Permanent Secretary for Provincial Affairs and Devolution for Matabele North, Mr. P. Nyoni, as represented, the Chairman of the Portfolio Committee on Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare, Honorable Titi Malinganiso, and the other members of Parliament here present. His Worship, the Mayor of Victoria Falls, Councillor Tuso Moyo, the President of the Employers Confederation of Zimbabwe, Mr. Demos Mbauya, the President of the Congress of Trade Unions, Mrs. Florence Ruinga, as represented here by Mr. Chikosi, the President of the Zimbabwe Federation of Trade Unions, represented by Secretary General Comrade Kenyas Shamyarira, the President of the Zimbabwe Confederation of Public Sector Unions, Mrs. Cecilia Alexander, Captains of Industry here present, and our brand new NASA board. The General Manager of NASA, Dr. Shaba, executive directors, managers, and the staff of NASA, senior government officials here present, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to be part of this important Safety and Health at Work Conference 2025. Allow me to take this opportunity to pay special honor to all of you for being here today. Your presence is a powerful testimony to your commitment to occupational safety and health. It is also an affirmation that our collective national commitment to safety and health at work remains alive. Ladies and gentlemen, this year's conference runs under the theme Occupational Safety and Health, Technology and the Future of Work. This conference provides us with a vital platform to discuss and exchange perspectives on emerging technologies shaping occupational safety and health and the future of work. It also offers a unique opportunity to build networks and strengthen collaboration among occupational safety and health professionals, researchers, academia, and policymakers, all working towards advancing the safety and health agenda in Zimbabwe. As we navigate the evolving world of work, technology is rapidly transforming the way we live, work, and interact. In this new era, the integration of digital tools, data, and artificial intelligence presents an unprecedented opportunity to reimagine how we prevent occupational injuries, diseases, and fatalities. Through technology, we must therefore envision workplaces where safety systems are not only reactive but intelligent, real-time, and predictive, with systems that allow us to act before accidents happen, not merely to respond when they occur. Unfortunately, as a nation, we are still behind in terms of this, digitalized occupational safety and health data systems, particularly in sectors workplaces that lack occupational safety and health management systems. Yet, we take pride in acknowledging those organizations that have made remarkable progress in digitalizing their occupational safety, health, and management systems. To such organizations, we say keep going, remain vigilant against complacency, and continue to share your digital transformation journeys with others. As the National Social Security Authority, we remain committed to leveraging data to enhance workplace safety across Zimbabwe. The data we collect enables us to track performance at organizational, sectorial, and national levels. One critical indicator we monitor is the last time injury frequency rate, a growing global recognized benchmark for safety performance. Sadly, our national lost time injury frequency rate remains unacceptably high. This underscores the urgency for technological transformation in the occupational safety and health, a shift towards real-time data capture and the preemptive analytics. In conclusion, honorable ministers, ladies and gentlemen, let us therefore embrace this technological revolution not merely in compliance but for protection, productivity, and sustainability. Together we can shape a safer, smarter, and more resilient future of work Thank you for taking safety to greater heights.
Ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause for our board chair for introducing the conference to us and the theme that we had for this year. Ladies and gentlemen, in occupational safety and health, we never walk alone. Okay, yes, we never walk alone. True to that word, we always recognize the tripartism of government, labor, and business. Everything that we do recognize that tripartism. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor for us to have our solidarity speeches coming from our social partners. We are going to have the first statement coming from labor, organized labor. We have a number of labor centers who are sitting with us here, but we are going to have a consolidated statement which is going to be coming from Mr. Valentine Chikosi, representing organized labor. Let's clap for him.
Honorable Minister of Labour, Public Service and Social Welfare, Comrade Edgar Moyo, Honorable Minister of Provincial Affairs for Matabele North, Comrade Richard Moyo, His Worship, Mayor of the Victoria Falls Town, Chairperson of the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Labour and Public Service Commission, Public Service and Social Welfare, and a Member of Parliaments here present, Board Chair, Comrade Christopher Due, the General Manager of NASA, TNF Director, Executive Director, Comrade Nyagadzumbu, my honorable and special social partners, comrades, from MCOS, President Mbawuya, and my comrades in the trenches, Comrade Kenya Shamiarira from ZFTU, Madam Alexander Cecilia from COPS 2, all board members here present, comrades, distinguished guests, and colleagues. Comrades, on behalf of the workers and the broader labor movement, I'm honored to stand before you today at this important gathering hosted by the National Social Security Authority of Zimbabwe under the timely and critical theme, Occupational Safety and Health, Technology and Future of Work. Let me begin, comrades, by thanking NASA for the continuing to prioritize dialogue around occupational safety and health, especially at a time when our world of work is undergoing rapid and unprecedented transformation. This theme is not only forward-looking, it is urgent, necessary, and deeply relevant on the lived realities of workers across Zimbabwe, both in the formal and informal sectors of our economy. As trade unions, we recognize the power of technology to reshape work, from artificial intelligence and automation to digital platforms and robotics. These innovations, comrades, are changing not just how we work, but where, when, and under what conditions we are going to be working. However, we must be vigilant. With innovation must come protection. The introduction of new technologies must not come at the cost of workers' health and safety. We are seeing new occupational risks, economic stress from screen time, psychosocial hazards from digital surveillance, and precarious work arising from gig platforms, or which challenge our traditional frameworks for worker protection. Hence, at the global level, the International Labour Organization is currently seized with the discussions of international labour standards to govern the digital platform economy. Our role, comrades, as trade unions, is clear: to ensure that no worker is left behind and that the digital transformation of our workplace enhances safety, complements employer efforts, and not undermines them. We are therefore pushing for one, robust health and safety regulations that evolve with technology, stronger inspection mechanisms and enforcement through NASA and the Ministry of Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare. Most importantly, in line with the tripartism, we call upon sustenance of social dialogue processes, as this will also aid in anticipating risks before they become crises. And above all, we insist on training and reskilling of workers to prepare our members for the future of work so that technology empowers them rather than displacing them. Comrades, let us be clear. As we discuss the future of work and the integration of technology, we must not ignore a pressing issue happening right here and right now, that is the blatant disregard for occupational safety and health standards by some employers operating in Zimbabwe, particularly some Chinese investors and contractors. We have received numerous reports from workers across sectors, mining, construction, and manufacturing, of unsafe working environment, lack of personal protective equipment, unreasonable working hours, poor sanitation, and in some extreme cases, abuse and intimidation of workers who raise safety concerns. Let me be clear. Investment is welcome, but it must never come at the cost of workers' lives and integrity. We cannot allow Zimbabwe to become a dumping ground for exploitative labor practice simply because we are desperate for foreign direct investment that operates Chikorogoza way. This is not an attack on any nation. It is a call for employers, local and foreign, to operate within the laws of our country and to uphold the rights of Zimbabwean workers. The future of work, comrades, must also be a future of justice, dignity and well-being for all workers, whether on the factory floor, behind a computer, or delivering food on a motorbike. We call upon all social partners, that is government, employers and all stakeholders, to join us in building a framework that guarantees not just productivity, but worker safety and zero tolerance to occupational accidents. Occupational safety and health is non-negotiable, comrades, and should be embedded in every aspect of technological advancement. We therefore urge NASA, the Ministry of Labour, and all regulatory authorities to increase and announce inspections, especially at Chinese-operated sites and other non-violators, publicly name and shame repeat offenders who violate occupational safety and health standards, and where necessary, revoke operating license of companies that continuously endanger workers. The law must apply equally, and no employer should be above the labor laws of Zimbabwe. As the trade unions, we also demand to be meaningfully consulted in all high-risk sectors, and we call for stronger whistleblower protections for workers, mandatory OSH training for foreign management teams, and an end to the culture of silence and impunity. As I conclude, comrades, I want to emphasize that this is not a conversation for tomorrow. It is a call to action for today. Together, let us shape a future where technology serves workers, not replaces and or exploits them. A future where safety is smart and health is a right, not a privilege. If technology is to shape the future of work, then compliance, transparency, and accountability must shape the behavior of employers. Comrades, I trust we had fruitful discussions that will move us from policy to practice and from rhetoric to real lasting impact. I thank you. Siyabonga. Kalumbaloko.
Thank you, Comrade Chikosi, for the powerful words coming from organized labor. Ladies and gentlemen, as we call the other social partner, which then is part of our tripartite, I would want to call upon the President of the Employers Confederation of Zimbabwe, Mr. Demos Mbauya, to deliver our solidarity speech coming from business.
With technology. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to do some recognition. The Minister of Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare, was also Chairman of TNF, Comrade Edgar Moyo. Minister of Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Comrade Richard Moyo. The Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Labour and Social Welfare, and also Chairperson of Zimbabwe Occupational Health and Safety Council, Mr. Simon Masanga. NASA Board Chairman, Mr. Christopher Dube. Our host, NASA General Manager, Mr. Shawa, the NASA Board and the Executive Team and Management, the Government Chief Negotiator, Mr. Nobit Machinjike, a co-principal on TNF, colleagues from Labour, ZCTU Vice President, Comrade Valentine Chikosi, the COPSI President, Comrade Cecilia Alexander, ZFTU Secretary General, Comrade Shamiarira, the Mayor of Victoria Falls, Councillor Prince Moyo, Chairperson of the Parliamentary Committee on Public Service and Social Welfare, Honorable Malingonisi, our own Executive Director from MCOS, Mrs. Mkwewa, occupational health and safety practitioners here present. Let me also abuse my presence here to recognize 7 delegates from my former employer, Schweppes Holdings, Africa. All protocols observed. It is my distinct honor on behalf of the Employer Confederation of Zimbabwe to address this edition of the National Conference on Safety and Health at Work. Allow me to commend the National Social Security Authority for organizing this important gathering under the theme Occupational Safety and Health, Technology and the Future of Work. This theme is not only relevant, but very timely, as our economy and our workplaces continue to evolve under the pressures of automation, digitalization, and global competitiveness. It reminds us that the future of work must balance between innovation with responsibility, productivity with protection, and efficiency with empathy. As social partners, we have a shared duty to ensure that as technology transforms how we work, it must also transform how we protect those who work. From an employer perspective, the foundation of effective occupational safety and health is social dialogue. Dialogue builds trust, inclusivity, ownership. It also ensures that policies are informed by realities of both the workplace and the workforce. Through constructive engagement, government, business, and labor can develop frameworks that promote prevention, not punishment, cooperation, not confrontation. From an EMCO's perspective, social dialogue therefore remains one of the practical tools of ensuring sustainable economic compliance, responsible innovation, and a culture of shared accountability. Ladies and gentlemen, the world of work is changing faster than ever before. As employers today, we are reimagining the safety systems, using technology not as a replacement for people, but as a partner in protection. Across industries, we are seeing the rise of wearable devices that monitor an employee's exposure to heat, noise, or fatigue in real time. We are seeing the Internet of Things connecting machinery and people in an integrated safety ecosystems that can identify risk before incidents occur. We are also seeing artificial intelligence being used to analyze patterns and predict hazards, allowing employers to act before harm happens. When applied responsibly, these innovations bring us closer to Vision Zero. That is zero accidents, zero harm, and zero occupational diseases. As employers, we are therefore alive to the fact that technology gives us the opportunity to make our workplace not only more productive, but also more humane. We will therefore continue to invest in the necessary technology and equipment. Ladies and gentlemen, as we embrace new technologies and innovations, we are mindful of the fact that at the center of every business is the human being. While technology can make work more efficient, it must never replace the human need for dignity, fairness, and care. The mental and emotional health of our workers is as important as their physical safety. Employers will continue to prioritize mental wellness, tackle stress and fatigue, and foster workplaces where communication is open and leadership is empathetic. Training and reskilling are critically important. Businesses are consciously and deliberately assigning financial resources towards skilling and reskilling because we understand that a workforce that understands new technologies is a workforce that remains both safe and competitive. We will continue to encourage our members in the private sector to ensure that the culture of safety must start at the top, from management that leads by example and treats every worker's life as priceless. Honourable Minister, we acknowledge and appreciate the efforts of government to finalise the Occupational Safety and Health Bill, a landmark reform that seeks to modernise Zimbabwe's OSH framework and align it with global standards. We particularly commend the bill's emphasis on tripartism, which recognizes the central role of government, employers, and workers in developing and implementing OSH systems. For the private sector, this bill is a progressive step forward. However, its effectiveness will depend on continuous consultation, the practicality of compliance measures, and a balanced approach between enforcement and support. Safety cannot be achieved through penalties alone. It must be cultivated through education, awareness, and incentives. We also welcome the bill's potential to promote digital compliance and reporting, enabling real-time data sharing and transparent performance monitoring. MCO stands ready to work with our partners, ZFTU, ZCTU, ZICOPSU, the Ministry of Labour, our parliamentarians, to make sure that the new act is fit for purpose, one that protects workers, sustains businesses, and advances Zimbabwe's vision of decent work for all. We are also encouraged by the inclusion of artisanal and small-scale mining in the discussions that happened yesterday. This sector sustains livelihoods, but remains amongst the most hazardous. Improving safety here is both a social and an economic priority. Technology can play a transformative role in this sector. Simple innovations such as portable gas detectors, mobile-based safety training in local languages, and affordable wearable sensors that can drastically reduce incidents and improve awareness. We support the national plan and commitments towards phasing out of mercury in artisanal gold mining in line with the Minamata Convention. Mercury is not only harmful to miners, but also to our environment and communities. There are safer alternatives, including, but not limited to, gravity concentration and borax-assisted smelting that have proven to be effective and affordable. In addition, investing in shared processing centers equipped with cleaner technologies, Zimbabwe can lead in promoting responsible, mercury-free gold production that safeguards both workers and the ecosystem. No one should be left behind in the journey towards Vision Zero. Honourable Minister, the private sector commitment to occupational safety and health is more than a business obligation. It is a moral and a social duty for us. Every employer, regardless of size or sector, carries the responsibility to ensure that each worker returns home safe every single day. Our operations must never, and I repeat, must never endanger the communities we serve, nor compromise the environment on which our future depends. Safety must become a national value, embedded in our management systems, our leadership practices, and our everyday culture. This annual conference remains a vital space for knowledge sharing, innovation, and cross-sectoral collaboration. It is where we exchange ideas, learn from international best practice, and strengthen our resolve to protect our workforce. We commend, therefore, NASA and the Zimbabwe Occupational Safety and Health Council for maintaining the momentum of this dialogue and ensuring that our OSH agenda remains dynamic, inclusive, and globally relevant and aligned. In conclusion, MCOS reaffirms its commitment to building a safe, healthy, and productive workforce as a cornerstone for sustainable business enterprise and national development. We thank the government for its leadership, NASA for its diligent work, Labour for its partnership, and all occupational health and safety practitioners for their tireless contribution to saving lives and enhancing well-being of employees in the workplace. Let us continue to use platforms like this conference not only to discuss safety but to act, to invest in prevention, to embrace innovation, and to strengthen dialogue. Together we can move towards a Zimbabwe where technology, social dialogue, shared responsibility converge to create workplaces that are safe, smart, and sustainable. I thank you.
Another round of applause for Mr. Mbawia. There we are, ladies and gentlemen, a statement coming from business, our social partner, restating their commitment to occupational safety and health. Ladies and gentlemen, the ILO is unable to join us today. They had requested to join us virtually, but unfortunately technology has not allowed us to do so. They send their greetings and their solidarity to this important event that we're having today. We are going to be adding their statement on our QR codes so that you can hear what the ILO had for us today. Without wasting much time, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to request the chairperson of the Zimbabwe Occupational Safety and Health Council and our permanent secretary in the Ministry of Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare, Mr. Simon Masanga, to introduce our guest of honor.
Thank you, Director of Ceremonies and Acting Director OSH Inas. We wish you all the best. Let me start by recognizing the presence of the host minister, Minister of State responsible for Matabeleland North Province and also devolution, our good friend, Honorable Richard Moy. Minister, you have been very supportive to ministry program and to entities that are associated with the ministry, and we don't take your presence here for granted. Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee for Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare, Honorable Maringanis. Honorable Minister and guest of honor, each time I go to Parliament and I see the two gentlemen seated here, I know there is trouble because they interrogate real oversight on the ministry, but we have also tried to expose them to the various programs of the ministry so that they get to understand the ministry better. Honorable Madingani is accompanied by Honorable Bajila. Our social partners, very key. We are tripartite and we will try to remain tripartite in all we do. I gave him a new name this morning, Edmos Mbawe, but I withdraw that name. It's Demos Mbawe. We also have in our midst Mr. Chikosi representing Mr. Winga, Mrs. Alexander, and Comrade Shamyarira. This man does not want to be given the title Mist, so you should be very careful. Each time you come across Shamyarira, it's Comrade Shamyarira. President Cecilia Alexander, fresh from penning an agreement with your counterpart, Mr. Machinjik, the leader of government, when we engage our workers. And Honorable Minister, I want to say we are doing very well. I think the private sector is now grey with envy. We seem to be forging ahead of the private sector in terms of striking an understanding between workers and the employers. I'm looking at you, Mr. Mbawe. NASA board chairperson, brand new, Mr. Christopher Dube. I think this is the first public event for NASA that you are presiding over. You are not doing badly. I think it's a good start. Let's give him a hand. Supported by a brand new general manager. He has been acting for the past 3 years, but finally confirmed just behind me, Dr. Shawa. Senior government officials, quite a number of them, and also the NASA executives. Honourable Minister, we had challenges in NASA before, divided executive. This is now a thing of the past. They are working very well together, and I see most of them are here. We just want to encourage them to continue on that productive path. Captains of industry, and I really want to thank the support from the private sector and government institutions. This, I think, is one of the biggest gatherings that we have had at a show conference. We are doing well, and we will continue to get better. Members of the media in your numbers, and also our sponsors, ladies and gentlemen. Mine is a simple but very important task to introduce the guest of honor. The guest of honor is the chairman of the TNF, Tripartite Negotiating Forum, which again is becoming stronger. But in terms of background, the Honourable Minister is an accomplished educationist. Many successful people in this country have passed through his hands. He taught in rural and urban schools, and his heart is in education. But he's beginning to develop a passion for labor. And I think, Minister, slowly you are beginning to forget about the education sector. He has served in various boards, including ZIMSEC, the one that administers public examinations in this country. Our Honourable Minister is former Treasurer General. So if you leave your minister with your money, you can be guaranteed the money is safe. Even the NASA money is safe. He is past Treasurer General for the Zimbabwe Teachers Union. He is a freedom fighter, a farmer, and a successful business person. Honourable Minister became a politician in 2018 when he was voted to become the Member of Parliament for Matobo constituents. Immediately after winning resoundingly in that election, he was appointed Deputy Minister of Primary and Secondary Education. He again stood for re-election in the elections of 2023 and again did very well and was then elevated from being a Deputy Minister to becoming the Minister of Energy and Power Development, where he scored a number of successes. He was then transferred to his current position in 2024, when His Excellency the President reassigned the Honourable Minister to become the Minister of Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare. Honourable Minister had the honour to preside over the International Labour Conference in June. He was chairing all ministers of labour globally, and it's no mean achievement. He was also the chair of the SADC Employment and Labour Sector. The gentleman is none other than Honourable Edgar Moyo, the Minister of Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare. Let's give him a rounding applause as he takes to the podium. Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much for the kind introductions. We may take our seats. The Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution for Matabele and North Province, Honourable Richard Moyo. The Deputy Minister of Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare, Honourable Advocate Mercy MD in absentia. Chairperson of the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare, Honourable Dexter Malinganiso, and Honourable Bajila from the same committee. the chairman of the Zimbabwe Occupational Safety and Health Council, and the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare, Mr. Simon Masanga. The president of the Employers Confederation of Zimbabwe, Mr. Demos Mbauya, and all captains of industry here present. The president of the Zimbabwe Congress of Trade Unions, Ms. Florence Tarubenga, represented here by Mr. Valentine Chikosi. The president of the Zimbabwe Federation of Trade Unions, Mr. Alfred Makwarimba, represented here by the Secretary General, Kenyas Shamiarira. Comrade, I forgot to say comrade. Let me not invite the president of Zimbabwe Confederation of Public Sector Unions, Mrs. Cecilia Alexander. His Worship, the Mayor of Victoria Falls, Mr. Moyo, Councillor Moyo, NASA Board Chairman, Mr. Christopher Dube, NASA Board members here present, the General Manager of NASA, Dr. Charles Shava. I'm told he's brand new after spending 3 years in the position, then suddenly becomes brand new. ILO Director for Zimbabwe and Namibia, Ms. Pilile Masugu, and foreign delegates here present. Public Service Commission represented here by Mr. Machinjie. Senior government officials present, captains of industry that I've already alluded to, members of the media fraternity, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is a great honor and privilege to address you at this important Safety and Health at Work conference hosted by the National Social Security Authority, NASA. This annual gathering has become a pillar in our national calendar, a strategic platform for government, organized business, organized labor, the private sector, academia, and development partners to reflect, share insights, and chart collective solutions for advancing occupational safety and health in Zimbabwe. Allow me to extend my sincere appreciation to NASA and all its partners for their exceptional organization of this year's conference, themed, and I quote, Occupational Safety and Health, Technology and the Future of Work, end of quote. This theme resonates deeply with our nation's vision of sustainable, inclusive growth driven by innovation, technology, and human-centered progress. It compels us to ask, how can we ensure that as technology evolves, the dignity, safety, and well-being of workers is not left behind? Ladies and gentlemen, we stand at the threshold of the fourth industrial revolution, a time defined by digitalization, artificial intelligence, and automation. These developments hold immense potential for enhancing productivity, efficiency, and increased economic transformation. Yet they also introduce new workplace risks, cyber stress, economic strain, exposure to invisible agents, and the social dislocation of rapid change. As the Director General of the ILO, Mr. Gilbert Hongbo, aptly stated, and I quote, "The future of work must be human-centered, built on the pillars of security, equality, and dignity," end of quote. In this regard, our approach to technological advancement must be anchored in strong occupational safety and health frameworks. Technology must serve as a tool for empowerment, not endangerment. It must enhance, not erode, the protection of our most valuable asset, the worker. Distinguished delegates, our Constitution is clear. Section 65.1 guarantees fair and safe labor practices, while Section 73A affirms the right to an environment not harmful to health or well-being. These provisions compel us to act decisively to uphold safety and health as fundamental human rights. Government remains resolute in turning these rights into reality for every worker in Zimbabwe. On 3 June 2025, the government of Zimbabwe took a historic step forward when Cabinet approved the Occupational Safety and Health Bill. This landmark legislation seeks to harmonize Zimbabwe's fragmented OSH statutes into one modern preventive and rights-based framework. It embraces international best practices, aligning with ILO conventions and emerging global standards. Our commitment is not merely to pass laws, but to give them life, to transform policy into action and action into protection. In preparation for implementation, NASA is developing approximately 20 statutory instruments to operationalize the bill. These instruments will ensure that the law is practical, responsive, and capable of delivering tangible change in every workplace. This is a decisive move from policy to practice, from law to life-saving action. Furthermore, ladies and gentlemen, Zimbabwe is in the process of ratifying ILO Convention number 187, the Promotional Framework for Occupational Safety and Health. The Cabinet Committee on Legislation has approved its ratification, marking a major milestone in our commitment to fostering a national culture of prevention. As the ILO emphasizes, a safe and healthy working environment is a fundamental principle and right at work. Zimbabwe proudly, continuously upholds this principle. Occupational safety and health is a multidisciplinary field which touches not only the private sector, but the public sector as well. Our intention as government is work together with all sectors. Hence, in the Public Service Commission is also leading a transformative initiative to institutionalize OSH. This includes the establishment of a dedicated OSH departments in ministries and comprehensive operational procedures to safeguard public servants. The state must lead by example. Public sector workers deserve the same protection as their counterparts in the private sector. And I think Cecilia should be clapping for that one, because she represents that constituency. The Public Service Commission is also advancing the integration of public servants into NASA's Accident Prevention and Workers' Compensation Scheme. This will replace the outdated State Service Disability Benefits Act and establish a unified system for prevention, compensation, and rehabilitation. It is a practical step toward efficiency, equity, and improved service delivery. Esteemed delegates, at the international level, Zimbabwe continues to play an active role in shaping global OSH policy. During the 2025 International Labour Conference in Geneva, Zimbabwe led the Africa Group in adopting the new ILO Convention on Protection Against Biological Hazards. This came in recognition of lessons from the COVID-19 pandemic and the need to safeguard workers from invisible threats. In response, we are drafting a dedicated statutory instrument on protection against biological hazards, enhancing national preparedness and resilience at the workplace. Ladies and gentlemen, in June 2022, the ILO declared occupational safety and health a fundamental principle and right at work, placing it alongside the elimination of forced labor, child labor, and discrimination. Zimbabwe embraces this recognition fully. Our new OSH bill, ongoing reforms, and international commitments reaffirm our resolve that no worker, no occupation, and no sector will be left behind. This aligns perfectly with our national vision of leaving no one and no place behind, which underpins Vision 2030 and the National Development Strategy 1. Over the past 3 years, we have lost an average of 70 workers annually and recorded about 4,500 disabling injuries per year. These are not mere numbers. They represent human lives, families, and futures cut short. One life lost is one too many. Our vision is clear: to achieve zero harm in all workplaces. This calls for a shared responsibility among government, employers, and workers alike. We look to the future. Let us therefore view safety and health not as a cost, but as an investment in human capital, productivity, and sustainable development. As the World Health Organization continues to remind us, there is no health without occupational health. Our workforce is the heartbeat of our economy. Hence, their safety is the foundation of our progress. In closing, I call upon all stakeholders, government, employers, trade unions, private sector, development partners, and academia to work together in unity and shared purpose. The success of our SH transformation depends on collaboration, transparency, and mutual accountability. Let us together build a Zimbabwe where every worker returns home safe and healthy each day, and has the zeal and confidence to come back to a safe work environment the next day. As I conclude, I leave you with two timeless sayings by Benjamin Franklin. And here I quote, "An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure." And when we watch out for each other in this evolving world, everyone wins, end of quote. Ladies and gentlemen, with these words, I officially declare the 62nd Safety and Health at Work Conference of 2025 open. I wish you fruitful deliberations and continued success in advancing occupational safety and health in our beloved Zimbabwe. I thank you, Tatenda Siyabonga.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, for those powerful words, which then officially open our conference. And I would want to say, Honorable Ministers, we do not take for granted your presence here. And I would want to request my colleagues and board member to come and show our gratitude for your presence here. I'm handing over to Dr. Mugaviri and Mrs. Takundwa to show our appreciation to our honorable ministers. Honorable Richard Moyo to come to the podium. We will now request the Honorable Minister of Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare, Honorable Edgar Moyo, to come to the front. I got it. I got it. Ladies and gentlemen, as we conclude our official opening segment, I would want to call upon our brand new General Manager to come and give us the vote of thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Betty, Director of Ceremonies. The Minister of Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare, Comrade Edgar Moyo. The Minister of Provincial Affairs and Devolution for Matabele North, Honorable Richard Moyo. The Chairperson of the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare, Honorable T.D. Mangaliso, and his colleague parliamentarian, Comrade Bajila. Members of Parliament here present. The Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare, who also happens to be the chairperson of the Zimbabwe Occupational Safety and Health Council, Mr. Simon Masanga, the President of the Employers Confederation of Trade Unions, Mr. Demos Mawuya, President of the Zimbabwe Congress of Trade Unions, represented here by Mr. Chikosi, the President of the Zimbabwe Federation of Trade Unions, represented here by Comrade Kenneth Shamuyarira, the President of the Zimbabwe Federation of Public Sector Unions, Mrs. Cecilia Alexander, NASA Board Chairman and Board Members, Mr. Christopher Dube and your team, senior government officials who I may not have mentioned by name, heads of parastatals, NASA management and staff, captains of industry who are here present, distinguished guests and the delegates. On behalf of the National Social Security Authority, Board and Management, and the entire NASA family, I stand before you with deep gratitude and appreciation as we conclude this impactful Safety and Health at Work Conference 2025. Our theme this year, Occupational Safety and Health, Technology and the Future of Work, has sparked a rich dialogue, innovative thinking, emotions that arises out of fear of losing jobs, but a renewed commitment to safeguarding the well-being of our workforce in an ever-evolving world of work underpinned by technology. Honourable Minister, we are truly honoured by your presence and your insightful keynote address. Your continued support and leadership in advancing labour standards and social protection in Zimbabwe on behalf of government inspire us to push boundaries and embrace innovation in occupational safety and health. We also want to thank the Provincial Minister of Matabeleland North. We came and gathered here because we knew he is a hospitable minister and he will not chuck us out of his province. Minister, we appreciate your presence here as you have always done. I would also want to thank our NASA board led by Mr. Christopher Dube for having graced this occasion, not only gracing it but also being responsible for availing the necessary resources to make this a successful event. We would also like to thank our social partners for their continued guidance, encouragement, and support in our quest to make Zimbabwe safe for all workers. To the Honourable Chairman of the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare, and your colleague, we certainly do not take your presence here for granted. I think this is the first time that we have had to host you, and we don't take that for granted. However, we challenge you to challenge fellow parliamentarians to work safely in Parliament. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to make a special mention of the Zimbabwe Occupational Safety and Health Council, led by the Permanent Secretary, who also happens to be the chairman of the Zimbabwe Occupational Safety and Health Council. This event is basically under the umbrella of this very important council. They provide the directions for this particular conference, and your support in enabling the organization is very much appreciated. We also appreciate the historical and emotional attachment that this conference has to the show conference, as well as the Zimbabwe Occupational Safety and Health Council, which dates to 62 years ago. And we are happy for ZOSC for having been able to take the torch from year to year without failure. I would like to take this opportunity to express our heartfelt appreciation to our international presenters and guests. We have representations from Mozambique, Tanzania, Seychelles, South Africa, Zambia, and Belgium. We hope you are enjoying your experience in Zimbabwe, and we look forward to welcoming you back here same time next year. To our speakers, panelists, and facilitators, thank you for sharing your expertise and challenging us to think critically about how technology can be harmonized to create a safer, healthier, and more inclusive workplace. To our delegates, your active participation, questions, and contributions have made this conference a dynamic and enriching experience. We are confident that the knowledge shared here will have a lasting impact, spreading across industries, across institutions, and drive meaningful change. To our sponsors, partners, and the organizing committee, your dedication and hard work behind the scenes have made this event a resounding success. Here, I would like to make a special mention to NBS, our sponsor for the awards dinner, and FBC, our sponsor for yesterday's boat cruise. Your contribution has gone a long way in making this year's conference a memorable one. We deeply appreciate your commitment in promoting a culture of safety and health. Lastly, but not least, I would like to thank NASA executives, managers, and staff. These guys have been working around the clock to make this event a successful event. I appreciate you, my colleagues, for having done a wonderful job. As we go back to our workplaces, let us carry forward the insights gained and the connections made. Let us continue to innovate, to collaborate, and advocate for workplaces where every Zimbabwean can thrive safely and with dignity. And let's make Zimbabwe a safe and productive place to work. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shava, for the vote of thanks, which marks the end of our official opening. As we finish this official opening, we shall allow the top table to take leave, after which we will then conclude the conference. Can we all be uprising as the top table leaves? Thank you. We'll also allow the VIPs accompanying the minister to take leave as we conclude the conference. We can be seated. Thank you once again. I will hand over back to Dr. Mutetwa as we conclude this technical part of the conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Betty. I think prior to the official opening, we'd concluded the conference in terms of summarizing the key outputs. So perhaps I can invite Dr. Shingi to lead us and advise, unless if he's not here. What I can say is that there is an awards dinner which is starting at 6 o'clock tonight in this very tent. So if you have not registered, please, you are most welcome to do so. You can see our secretariat, which is by outside the tent, to have the necessary registration. Other than that, I think we had already So we just have got 10 minutes before we break for our lunch. So I think we can continue to interact, but I think this has been a wonderful conference for all of us. We look forward to seeing you in the next edition in 2026. I think you can agree with me that it has been a wonderful conference, is it? Other than that, I think we need to clap our hands for ourselves for this very impactful conference. Thank you. So we can continue to interact as we wait for over the next 10 minutes for lunch. Bye for now. Thank you.